First thing we're gonna do for our cool down neck cars, we're simply gonna drop our chin to our chest, and then we're gonna try and trace our chin along our collarbone, point our chin to the ceiling, rotate around the other side, and then repeat in the opposite direction. Not forcing it, not pushing through any pain, just using the range of motion that we have. And we're going to do this about 3 times each way. I apologize if my voice is getting loud when I'm facing the microphone. And then once we get 3 each way, we're going to go to shoulder cars. Now, up to you if you want to do both arms at the same time. Key focus here is imagine your fingertips, when they're at the floor, they're trying to drive down, touch 6 o'clock on the clock. Then when they go forward, they're going to try and reach forward, find 3 o'clock. When they get overhead, you're going to shrug your shoulders up, keeping your rib cage down, try and touch 12. And then coming back around behind you, try and find 9 o'clock, keeping your ribs down, and then we're back to the floor. Then we would just reverse that. Go find 9, up overhead, find 12, forward, find 3. And we're going to do this for 3 reps each way. Now, when I started, I said you can do this with both arms at the same time. But if you want, you can also do this with just one arm at a time. Take a little bit longer, but that's your call. If you're doing that, you can pause the video and then resume when you're done. Next up, standing hip cars. So for this one, if we need to, we can grab onto anything for balance. But the idea here is that we're going to stand strong on our base leg. We're going to lift our foot up as high as we can, flexing at the hip. We're going to imagine we're stepping over a laser. Don't trip the alarm. Clear the laser. Come back around, put it right parallel with your other foot, and then bring it back up in reverse over that laser. So think this is just a ball and socket, and all that we're doing is trying to move that as much as we can without like stealing from our back or anything like that. Once we get 3 reps on one side, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Bring it up as high as we can, step over the laser, bring it back and around. Again, if you need to hang on to something for balance and to keep from cheating, one thing we like to do is hold our arms out straight and touch a door frame, and that'll give you feedback for if you're rotating and stealing range anywhere. If your arms bend, you'll know that you're leaning forward, etc. Okay? After that, wide straddle T-spine rotation. Do as I say, not as I do, because here's where you're going to see my weakness. But we have a couple options here. So we can come straight down the middle, and we can rotate to one side from there. Or what I like to do is kind of drift across to one side, straighten the leg of the foot that I'm going away from, rotate as far as we can, hang out for a second, walk our way to the other side, rotate as far as we can. We're just going to go back and forth. Knock out about 3 to 5 reps on each side. And make sure you're breathing throughout all of this. Don't hold your breath. If you can't breathe at the range of motion that you're at, then you're not really in control of that position, okay? So next, we're gonna go half kneeling. So from this half kneeling position, we wanna make sure, I'll kind of show this one from the side to start. We wanna make sure that we are rolling our hips up. Imagine I have a belt buckle on, bring my belt buckle up to my sternum. Then from here, I'm gonna have my hands together out in front. The leg that's forward, so my right leg is forward. I'm gonna open my right arm and rotate back as far as I can. My eyes are gonna follow my hand. I'll hang out for a second, come back forward. We'll do this for 3 to 5 reps. Don't rush it. Hang out at that end range, but also make sure that you don't let go of your hip. Don't let your hip dump forward. You should kind of feel this constant stretch down through the thigh of the down knee the entire time. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. I'll show this one a little more forward. So set up, tilt the hips, find that stretch, and then we're going to open. Hold that hip stretch the whole entire time. Don't be lazy through the hips. And then once I finish my fifth one here, we're going to go to adductor rocking. Now for adductor rocking, I like to put my leg out straight, drive the bottom of my foot down, and I'll start off on my hands, and I'll rock back and forth. And as I feel like that starts to get a little bit easier, I'll drop to my forearms, and you're going to feel that stretch really increase. But if you're going to do this one, just make sure that you can do it without having to tilt like crazy. Meaning, like you're not like tilting your hips up. You want to still keep those hips level, your back level. But once we knock out, 5 to 10 reps on one side, we'll do the same thing on the other. And if you want, you can do the same thing. Start with your hands again. Get a few reps. Okay, feels good. Go to my forearms. And then once I get my reps here, I'm going to come back up to quadruped position. And we're going to go rotational cat-cow. So I'm going to drive up into one side of my spine, think up across the middle to the other side. Then I'm going to drop down and just kind of go in a circular motion. If it helps, you can get your head involved too. Sometimes it helps to kind of synchronize how the movement should go. But once we get 3 to 5 one direction, then we'll do the same thing the other direction. So drive up into one side of my back, up across the middle to the other side of my back. Looks funky, but feels really good, right? And then after that, I think that's it. We're just going to go 90-90 hip lift breathing. So for this one, since I have the camera going, I'm probably going to be a little bit too far away from the wall, so we're going to talk about what to do. Yeah, I should be a little bit closer. But the big thing here, this will work, is that I could also use a bench. I can dig my heels into a bench, and I'm going to be flat on my back. I want to make sure that my whole entire back is pressed into the floor. I want my hips and my knees about 90 degrees. You probably can't see from this angle, but my hips are a little bit too open. My knees are too far forward, but I can still talk you through this. What we're going to do is we're going to drag our heels like we're dragging them down the wall, but we're actually going to lift our hips up with that. So I should feel my hamstrings a little bit. And then from here, I'm going to inhale through the nose fully. And I'm going to exhale through the mouth as if though I'm fogging a mirror. So it should come from the back of my throat like this. In through the nose. And as I'm doing this, I just want to make sure that I'm not like pointing my chin up to the ceiling. Even the back of my neck should be down towards the floor. Again, it's my hamstrings that are holding my hips off the floor, not doing like a reverse crunch and using my abs. In through my nose, out through my mouth. Repeat that for maybe 5 reps. And if you want, you can set your hips down, relax for a second. And if you feel up for it, you can do another round of like 5 breaths. Sometimes from here, I'll just kind of straighten my legs, cross my feet, shut my eyes, and chill out for a few minutes. But that's it. That's our cool down. Hope you feel real nice.